What's up, Mirandigas? We're back with another Persona video. Last time I saw this post, which was things getting changed or written out of P4R, remake of Persona 4. It was bait, some felt like true. Then I decided I'll make a video where I'll discuss what I want in Persona 4 remake, want them to add. So basically in this video there are spoilers for Persona 4, obviously. Persona 4 the animation, Persona 5 Royal, a bit spoiler, but a major one I'm assuming, and Persona 3 Reload, which is actually a major spoiler. So, this is a that kind of video, so let's dive into it. I will not go into the story of P5 and P3, but there's some things that I want to point out that will add into it. Okay, let's start with number one. The dungeons. There are 3 dungeons. I would prefer they reworked a little. And that is because I saw them in the anime, in Persona 4 animation. It's the Rise dungeon, the Kubo dungeon, and the Adachi dungeon. Basically, what I want to talk about is that in the anime, Rise's dungeon was basically, there was the swimsuit Rise that you normally see in the game. And then there were, multiple versions of Rise, talking about that who is the real me, because the social lane plot of Rise and the personality of Rise is going, okay, who is the real me, who is the real Rosette. So this was in animation, which I thought was pretty amazing. Maybe they can integrate this into battle, maybe Shadow Rise summons smaller Shadow other Rises and you have to beat them or kill them or fight them, whatever. Or they could just add this as a cutscene and then Shadow Rise transforms. I hope they don't add Yosuke's personality from the anime, because Yosuke in the anime during this episode sucked pretty much. I don't know if they changed that in Golden Animation. I wouldn't watch that. Now for the Kubo. Kubo, there's one thing I want to add. This might be my favorite Persona 4 animation episode, probably. So in this is basically, it actually is a bit realistic approach to the friendship of P4 cast, because if you don't know, in P4 and P5 the whole friendship system is we met, we summon our personas, we're homies forever, we will not argue, we will not argue with the main character, but we can argue with the side characters, but it's for fun and games unless you're P5. So basically in this episode it was basically the concept of, okay, so these guys have a common goal, that's why they're friends. What if that goal is ended? Because if you play the game and watch the anime, you know that Kubo is not the real killer, but at this moment in time the cast thinks, yes, Kubo is the real killer, we gotta capture him. So basically Kubo traps Narukami into this illusion, I want to say, basically in a sense that Narukami looks at it from the perspective of, okay, because Narukami is also thinking this, that if we catch Kubo, our friendship is basically over, and he enjoyed it. Basically it was okay, Yukiko's now I gotta take care of the inn, and they stop meeting. Kanji's all we talk about is just what to do, but we don't do it, and stuff like that. Rise leaves town without telling. Stuff like that happens, which kind of adds a little element of, is their friendship just because they're friends, or the fact that they have a common goal. This addition is something I really love in the anime. Now, the Kubo boss fight in the game is annoying as hell, and I think is one of the worst designed fights in my opinion. But I would want them to add this. This fight has 2 phases. One phase is you fight with your team, and the second phase is you fight alone against Kubo with Narukami. Now I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say they will not do that. I have a counter argument. This is where the Royal spoiler comes. Not this one. This. In P5 Royal, I haven't completed Royal, but I have heard things that the Shiro boss fight, there are 2 phases. One, you fight with everyone. The other, you fight with only Joker, which was taken from Persona 5 animation when Joker fights Shiro and uses Beelzebub. I haven't seen the anime, but I've seen that fight. The animation sucks, but it's enjoyable. So they've taken this from the anime. This is wishful thinking again, but I really think they should, if they implement this, I would really love. Now for the other dungeon is Magatsu Inaba. So if you haven't watched the anime, in Magatsu Inaba, Adachi, when he tells about his whole, how he did it, what he did, Like it's very more, how would I say, dark in the anime technically, because what Adachi does is he literally shows all of them a visual image of what he did to the victims. Like, as opposed to just telling them like in the game, he visually like shows them using this whole, like, because Adachi understands the world a lot more than, like, I think a lot of Persona characters. Like maybe not more than Futaba. It's up there into it, but like Adachi uses it and shows them like, okay, like how I killed the reporter and Yosuke's friend and stuff like that. Shows that using a subconscious and summons the Reaper. They don't need to add the Reaper in my opinion, but adding something like how he shows, like, you're going through the dungeon, Magatsu Mandela. So there are 2 floors and they're the bottom floors. You go to the bottom, and now it's 6 floors if I'm correct. Every 2 floors, Adachi is like, oh look what I did to you want to see how I murdered her, and then just I forgot the name of the girls that he killed, but like basically he shows like, okay, hey, this is how I murdered them, like this is what I did, stuff like that. Adding that, I feel like would make this a lot more darker and a lot more fun, and like add more to the narrative. The animation of P4 does a lot of things better than the game, but it's not the fault of the game because the game was in limited hardware. The things that the animation does is, surprising enough, they could do that, and I will discuss why I think they could add some elements to it. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk, so this is where I'll talk about. By the way, I just opened a picture. I don't know why he has yellow hair. So this, I don't think this is the one. This is the mod that I took the picture from. But in the P4 files, people found that Yosuke has like a, I don't know if it's completed, but in the data there's a Yosuke romance. So, here's the thing. This is very hit and miss for me. Let me explain. I feel like, because in my opinion, before P4 Remake, we're gonna see P6. We're gonna see Persona 6 before the P4 Remake. Maybe they announced it at the same time, I don't know. Oh, maybe they announced something else, a remake. But I feel like this edition is dependent on the fact if Persona 6 adds like you can date everyone. Basically, like not like someone older, like if P5 exists, you can't date Sojiro, but like you can date other characters. This is something I feel like is a hit and miss in that regard. If P6 adds romance with everyone, then I feel like, let me explain. Then I feel like if they add this, nobody will mind. But if P6 comes out and it's like, oh, your romance options are limited to straight relationships, I feel like if this is added, people would lose their minds. Many people would be happy. A lot of them would lose their minds because a newer Persona game does not allow it. But then an older Persona game just changed that. Technically didn't change it, just added. Now what do I think? As you guys know, Muslim. Like anti-LGBT. But now I have, like I've said this before, I'll say this again. I want them to be faithful to the original, not in a sense how the P3 fans say that Reload is more green, in a sense that every content should be included. Maybe not like offensive content, but that's like, look, like if it doesn't affect the story, sure. But like I feel like every content should be included. This is something I feel like them adding, I wouldn't mind, like, because this was already in the game, so I'd be like, okay, sure. Now the reason I think this would be added is, here's a Reload spoiler, is Ryuji. Here's the thing. Now I don't want to take Ryuji as an example because I feel like characters like Ryuji, Teddy, and Aigis are like different in a sense that for them love is basically someone you are happy with or have feelings for. It's not like girl boy, boy girl, boy boy, girl girl. For them it's more so like, Makoto, I feel closer to you. Kotone, I feel closer to you. That's why I like you. Here's the thing. Reload, after playing episode, I guess I can understand why they said that, like, they did not expect Reload to boom that much. This kind of hurts P3 because I feel like later down the line, now that I've heard that they did not expect P3 to be that much like popular, I would have preferred if P3 would have been later on remade. Because P3 has a lot of content which they didn't add. Possibly if they add Koton in the future, it'd be good. And looking at episode, I guess, the linked episodes are not voiced. It kinda irks me. But Reload does one thing good, is these linked episodes. Now, Ryuji, Akiko, Junpei, maybe Takaya. Maybe. Takaya is a middle ground. But these three characters did not need any development. They were already very well written characters. Linked episodes enhances them to like new heights. Him, Akiko, and Junpei. Now, why I picked Ryuji is because it's obvious that he has feelings for Makoto. And though you can't date him for obvious reasons, story purposes, it makes sense in that if they added this, I can see this being added. But again, I can't confirm. But because this was already in the data, this could be added. And a lot of Persona fans, Atlus doesn't support. Go play Catherine Full Body, go play like other Atlus games, and you'll understand. So them adding Ryuji like that makes me like more like into it that they'll do it. The other thing, linked episodes. What I want is, I'm going to talk about you later. What I want is, in animation, there's Aya. They mention her in the game, but you never see it. But what I want is your linked episode. Obviously, the party member linked episodes. And what I want is, so in P4, there are two social links that have divergent paths. So basically what happens is, if you pick Ko, you can't pick Daisuke. You have to pick another, like New Game Plus to do Daisuke social link. Or maybe just create a load file, I guess. And same with here. If you pick Yumi, you can't pick Ayane. If you pick Ayane, you can't pick Yumi. What I would want them to add is maybe if you pick Ko, Daisuke as a linked episode. If you pick Daisuke, Ko as a linked episode. It's the same, but the linked episodes are way shorter. They progress a bit faster. And maybe Ko does not have that much bond with you in a sense, but you're still friends. Same situation with here. If you pick Yumi, Ayane's social link increases. Linked episode increases slowly, but like you don't have that much friendship with her as compared to Ayane. Basically, you can't compare to Yumi. If you pick Yumi as social link, you can't date Ayane because you are in a linked episode. Maybe they can add something like that. This I think is possible, but we never know. This I think is highly likely because this is demanded by a lot of people. Atlus looks into the communities, so this is demanded a lot. Other thing I want to add is I'm shocked Atlus did not add this, is a hangout with Margaret. Elizabeth hangouts are pretty amazing. Technically you do hang out with Margaret after doing a social link here and there, but I feel like them just adding Margaret hangouts, like Elizabeth hangouts, I don't know why they did not do it in P5 as well, why they abandoned it, could be fun. Maybe after every social link she's like, okay, I can hang out with you. Like, instead of request, it's just social link rank. After rank 5, she hangs out with you. After rank 7, she hangs out with you. After rank 9, she hangs out with you. Stuff like that. Okay. Now, I haven't watched the golden animation, so I will not talk about that. But this is major. Please make Murray... Like, I know they're not going to add her in the base game. This is going to be later on for the cash. For the milking. Please, for the love of God, make a DLC, not a re-release. I know people are gonna say the answer is DLC, so that's gonna happen. Answer is a different case, because the way the answer is treated in the PS2 versions is the way modern games do DLCs. So them doing episode, I guess, or the answer is DLC makes sense. This is different. I believe Final Fantasy 16 also has a DLC like this where you have to play the game again, technically. Or like if you buy new when the DLC is already out, then you can play it. But for the love of God, make her DLC. I don't mind playing the game again. I don't want a re-release. Make her DLC. Make the everything Murray DLC. Yes, it could be that to unlock her, you have to install the DLC and you have to play the game again. Or you have to do a new game to obviously access a social link, because when Narukami enters, Inaba? He meets Murray right at the beginning. So it makes sense. This is something I would really like to hope it's DLC. Other thing I forgot to add in the Kubo area What they could do is fun is that you're Narukami and you moving around Inaba, like talking, like seeing your friends just breaking up and stuff. This was something I forgot to add, but I'm gonna add. I think that's all. Yeah. Tell me what you guys think. Sorry. What do you guys think, Marandigas? Like, do you think these additions are something you would want? Like, stuff you want them to add, something I missed, forgot? Tell me in the comments below. I feel like P4 Remake is next. Me personally, I would prefer P1 Remake because there's no way to play P1 in modern platforms. And then P2 Remake afterwards, and then Punishment Remake. But I feel like this remake might be next. Like, we'll first see a P6 announcement. But tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think? The most that I want is honestly this. This was really hype in the anime. Well, Miranda, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, comment, the bell. I'll see you guys next time with another Persona or Shin Megami Tensei other video. Like, comment, bye, bye, bye. I'm looking here to stop recording. Bye, 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 bye.